In 2016, I felt like I didn't necessarily have to pay attention to the presidential election, even though I could vote, because quite honestly, I just didn't care. And I didn't think that, I figured that I could just fall asleep at the wheel as as this would be the first election that I could vote in, kind of thing. And I figured everybody else will kind of figure it out, and from there we'll be fine. Uh, and I'll be honest, it wasn't the best thing to do. I will say it probably wasn't the worst thing I could have done, right? Just not voting. However, I think this time around I want more of an opinion about what's going on. I want to be a little bit more informed. And of course, I'm gonna vote this time going around, I believe. And so I believe, like, there's not 100% commitment yet on it. So one thing I've been doing is going through some presidential candidates, and this has been the first one that's really caught my eye. Well, my mouth made a weird noise there. This has been the first one that's really caught my eye, and so I just kind of want to go break them down and go through some of the main points. We're gonna talk about Andrew Yang. So we're going to talk about, well, I guess, okay, so he is running this time around because has a fear of the future of our country. And what is this fear? This fear is that there's new technology in the form of AI and artificial and augmented intelligence that is going to change the workforce permanently. 4 million jobs have already disappeared from our economy, and more is coming. And this is not just the type of unemployment where the seamstresses become typists who become cashiers. Like, this is not that kind of unemployment. This is a type of unemployment that's permanent, where there's no replacement coming after that. And so what was Andrew Yang doing before he ran for president? He graduated law school in 1999 and got a job in a law firm. But in 2000, he left and he went over to start a celebrity-affiliated fundraising startup. And he went back and forth to a few different companies, being like the VP, CEO. But eventually, he landed at Venture for America. And this is where he stayed up until running for president. And it's interesting because this Venture for America, really what it seems like is the top college grad students, graduates, not necessarily grad students, but top college graduates get matched up at local startups. And from there, both of them benefit. I put a question mark next to this because I mean, I didn't research Venture for America as much as I was Andrew Yang's presidency. And so to me, it kind of seems like a good deal for the startup, but that's assuming that if the interns are getting permanent. But anyway, I don't know. I thought this was interesting, but it's not the point of any of this. So let's get more to his platform of his opinions and beliefs and things that he is going to do and change. The biggest thing that he is responding to and that he is creating his platform on is based on the new technology that is going to change our job market and the workforce. That is the main thing that is driving all of his policies. The first thing that he stands for is the Freedom Dividend. This is a universal basic income. It'll be available to those who are 18 plus, everyone 18 plus, and it'll be $1,000 a month. So that's $12,000 a year. And a lot of people, the first question is, who's going to pay for this? He says that this will be paid for by a tax on companies that benefit the most from automation. And also during interviews that I've heard him answer this question about, he has talked about the companies that have gotten away with not paying any taxes at all, such as Amazon and Apple. And this year, Amazon, I think the number was like astonishing. I think it was over $1 billion in taxes. That they just didn't have, they just were allowed to pay none of it. They just didn't have to pay anything. They're just like, no, we like what you're doing, Amazon, keep going. And as a reward, no taxes. And I think that's one of the things that he is sick of and wants to change. And that's one of my biggest complaints is like, how come I have to pay taxes, but a company who made $1 billion doesn't? And it's just it's a little bit ridiculous to me. So, and and what are you going to do with this money? You can do things like pay bills. You can pay for an education. You can start a business. You can use it to be healthy. You can use it for relocation, time for loved ones. And mainly what this does is it allows people to take a risk to better their life. I think everyone's, you can't not, if you want to improve your life, you have to take a risk. There's no way I think of getting around that. You want to start a business, you got to take a financial risk. If you want to do anything, there has to be risk involved. And I think that this allows you to take that risk without losing everything. The risk becomes a little bit better if, you can, work your job. Like for me, for example, if I'm using this $1,000, right? If someone says, here's $1,000 every month, what am I going to do with it? I now have $1,000 to start, using as a base for my artistic practice / that is a business. I go around to book fairs and zine fests. I sell what I make. And so ultimately I'm able to make better things. I'm able to go to more places and sell those things. And eventually this is becoming a larger part of my life than, the job that I do, which for, money, which is catering for other people's events, right? And so I think, the catering for other people's events thing, right? This is $1,000 a month, right? So I'm not going to have to, this isn't, here you go, here's $1,000 a month, you can stop doing whatever you're doing. No, you still have to do whatever you're doing, but allows you to better yourself and make the thing that you're doing, it allows you to go from a position of depending on other people for your income to being self-sufficient eventually in the end. That's how I see it. The next thing that he's got on the docket is Medicare for all. He says that there are two current problems, even with the Affordable Care Act in our world of healthcare. The first one is access to medicine isn't guaranteed to everyone, and this is true. This is there's a big debate about pre-existing conditions and how Obamacare had fixed that, but there is still that if you still can't pay what you were required to pay, you're still fucked. Number two, incentives for healthcare providers don't align with providing quality, efficient care. And this is basically on challenging that the current healthcare system has a price for service model of patient care versus having a base income, which allows you to give proper care to each individual instead of focusing on how many can you get in and out of the door. He attributes a large reason that mental health is not taken care of in this country is because hospitals, or when you have injuries or anything like this, when you come in with a problem, they address your physical symptoms and they say, okay, let's move on. And I can actually speak from experience on this. I was run over by a car, and when I got, I was knocked unconscious. So when I woke up, taken to the hospital. They didn't even totally assess all of my physical problems. I didn't have an examination when I got there. I laid in a bed for several hours, and then finally they took some scans and said, nothing shows up on your scans, get out of here. And then, so no one even addressed all my physical problems. Nonetheless, all of the mental problems, even the concussion. No one gave me a concussion test or gave me any kind of examination for my concussion as well. So yeah, and this was one of the hospitals in my state that is like touted as one of the best, especially as the trauma center specifically. So you think you show up in a hospital in an ambulance and they're going to take great care of you, especially one noted for its trauma care. But no, really what they're good at is getting people in and out of this hospital. And especially when it comes to trauma, you want to get rated number one at trauma, get the most people in and out. And so I definitely can agree with the healthcare industry needing some that definitely needs to be fixed, right? And the last thing that he has on his platform is human-centered capitalism. And this is the shifting the focus of our economic system from a monetary-based system to focusing on maximizing human well-being and fulfillment in life. There are three main pillars, I guess, that have to change / are a highlight of human-centered capitalism. That is, number one, humans are more important than money. I think that this is something that, to me, is pretty simple, it's self-explanatory, but I guess I think there are a lot of people that are going to say, oh, well, no, that will take care of itself with true capitalism. And as Andrew Yang notes, true capitalism has not been put into play ever, and I definitely agree with that. The unit of a human capitalist market, the unit of a human capitalism economy is each person, not each dollar. Yeah, the unit of a human capitalism economy is each person, not each dollar. So I believe that is. I had a little bit of trouble with understanding this one. That's why I wrote it down word for word from the website. And I think that is more of just, again, kind of the focusing on the humans, not the money, focusing on not the output of judging your economy based on its money, but rather on each person. And third is that the markets exist to serve common goals and values. And I think what he notes here is that capitalism is good. It's places like competition in the marketplace, but there are places where it's extremely bad, where they'll honor somebody's ticket that paid more for you, that paid more than you because they bought their ticket sooner to the date of the purchase. Or an example like Martin Shkreli, who extorted the price of pharmaceuticals on the desperate. But that's what I got today. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think about Andrew Yang? What do you guys think about the other candidates? Who else are you interested in? And we'll see you in the next one.